Hey guys, so now I'm going to show you how I stretch a pelt. This pelt is, I tanned this one 2 days ago, so I washed it and I fleshed it and I applied the tanning solution and I let it sit, and that was 2 days. So this is 2 days. I've stretched it twice, I think, this morning and then once yesterday when I first opened it up. And then I'll show you what I use. This is like a 2x6 board, and it's actually a bench. You can see I'm sitting on it, and I put a towel over it because the ends they're not real sharp, but just to protect it a little bit. And then this is the pelt. So you can see these white spots. So that's where it has been stretched or doesn't need really stretching. It's these dark spots that we're looking at that, see, when I stretch it, it turns white. So that's what we're looking for, is to make this entire pelt white. So usually it really depends on the age of the lamb when it was skinned. Really young ones have really thin skin, so I'm much gentler with them. This one, probably 7 or 8 month old lamb, a cull ewe before breeding. It was a ewe I didn't want to breed, and so that's, you can get an idea of the lock length that you're going for. And so what I'm doing is I'm pulling it back and forth across the end of the board. And always be sure that you grab the hide. When you do that, you don't want to grab onto the locks and yank it around. You want to actually get the skin, because you don't want to pull any of the fleece out. And so I'm going to tell you, the more time you put into stretching your pelt, the softer it's going to be. And the stretching needs to happen at sort of crucial times. And those crucial times tend to be when it's getting drier. So the first day you really, probably don't need to keep an eye on it too much. Maybe stretch it once or twice that day. But the second day that it's opened up, you really need to keep an eye on it. And what you're looking for again is kind of those dark spots, and that's indicating that that spot is dry or it's drying and needs to be stretched. And of course, when you're stretching, you need to be a little mindful of holes or tears, because this is when those little imperfections can be made a whole lot worse. So I always stretch them skin side down at first. The really young lamb pelts, I only stretch them skin side down, but you'll see me, I'll show you a little bit of a different technique here in a minute. And then, yeah, I'm wearing gloves. I do stretch my pelts with gloves on until they're really, really dry. And it's just so I don't get that tanning formula on my hands. It's not because the pelts are icky or anything like that. And again, just make sure that you're grabbing the skin and not yanking on the fleece. And I've stretched pelts over like the top of a bed frame post, like No, it was an old brass bed with one of those ball top posts, and that worked okay. I actually really like this. I know it's hard for people to be bent over, so you can build. It's sort of like an A-frame almost, but you can build stretching beams that you can stand upright and stretch over like a bedpost, if you prefer to stand up. But if you do it sitting like this, or if you happen to have a bench around that is perfect for this, then just be mindful of your posture. You want a flat back. Okay, you don't want to be hunched over doing this. Okay. So my little lamb pelts, I tend to stretch them by hand like this. The really young ones. And that's all I do on them, is stretch them by hand like this. So this is the other technique I was talking about. So now I can see what needs to be stretched and how well I'm doing stretching. And I'm pulling the pelt over the corner, over the edge of the board. And I tend to do that mostly on the edges, or if I have a spot that's just being really tough to get for some reason. You can go along the way and peel big chunks of stuff off too, if you want. It depends, again, what you're going to be using the pelt for. If you're using it for upholstery or a pillow, no one's going to really see the back of it, so it doesn't have to look perfect. But if you're just going to have a standalone pelt and people are going to be, or you're going to be looking at it, I'll show you in another video how to finish a pelt. So there's a hole here. So you just want to be really careful you don't hook the end of the board in there and pull, because it'll probably make the hole bigger. I think this one's going to turn out really nice. It's not drying too fast. That's another thing. If you need to slow down your drying time, like say you need to go check the sheep, right? And you're planning on, being gone a couple of hours or something like that, you can always fold the pelt up again, fold it in half, and that'll slow the drying until you can get back to stretch it some more. Because you don't want to get too dry in between your stretching, especially on the second day. It's actually, I guess, the third day. So you tan it the first day, you open it up the second day, and I guess so now we're doing the third day. And by tomorrow morning, this pelt will be done. So it'll be totally dry, and I will have stretched it probably 3 or 4 more times. Now I don't stretch, like I said, my young lamb pelts like this with the skin up, because you can rip out the fleece by pulling it over these corners. It'll just rip out. So like I said, my young lambs, I tend to just totally do them by hand. Just my 2 hands just pulling. Okay, good for at least a couple of hours until I need to do it again. And when I know how I know I need to do it again is because it'll get dark like this. So once it gets kind of mostly dark all over again, I will stretch it again.